Hi, everybody. Shivoso and Phina here again for our bi-weekly report and overview of what the next couple of weeks are going to bring. Uh, it's been a crazy time. It's been a wild time. I'm pretty excited about this period we've been in. I can't wait to hear what Phina has to say. Um, it's been game on for sure. So, yeah, Phina, how are you doing?
Well, being in the midst of it, staying alive. No, I'm actually doing really good, but I feel that there's enough happening in the field. So also for me, of course, in my personal life. But we're not here to talk about that. So
That's right.
I
I'm gonna draw it out of you later on. You have to
yeah, yeah, yeah,
have some confessions.
yeah. That's okay. That's
No
okay.
gurus here. We all screw up.
No,
We're all having an adventure,
that's
aren't
true.
we?
That's true. Okay. Yeah, I will start. Hmm. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about doing a reading for the new year, like a full-on year report. But this week something popped up about the energy of 2024. And that is that it's going to be a hell of a year, but especially for those who have been working in the dark on things that cannot see the light of day. Of course, for the past couple of years, we've already seen a lot come to light, but 2024 is still going to be a very, very important year for this. So, if you see me smiling a bit, I'm happy, because mm, I want it to come out. I want it to be seen. I want it to be seen. And this goes for the big structures, people who have loads of power while others are in poverty, stuff like that. But also, we have to do the inner work ourselves. If we have shadows, if we have demons running around in ourselves, it's going to be time to face it. So every single one of us is going to, yeah, have to, or have to. Well, yeah, you will also be invited by the energy, even if you feel like you rather not. I'm laughing with that a bit and joking with that a bit, but it can also raise some sadness or anger or whatever stuff you personally need to work through. And with that, it's very important to have a good support system. So knowing this information, you can already, yeah, create a good backup. Be a good backup for each other. And that also brings me to the next point of this reading is growing from independence into support. Um, we have been moving a lot of codependence in the collective field. So a lot of relationship stuff came up, and we had to look at ourselves and other people and what are the dynamics. And for a lot of us, that meant also to look at, how can I best support myself? Maybe you are in this process, that can be. But this can also go to the other side, other the other end of things in hyper independence, and feel out for yourself. If you are on that side of the scale, then you could maybe soften it a bit and also land into a bit of support. And I have felt this also for brothers and sisters, um, together, as groups, to see where can we give someone support, not out of um, neediness, but out of a, hey, I'm there for you. You don't have to do everything alone, to hold space for each other. To learn how to do space holding is also a really, really valuable skill during the process. Yeah. they often say we are walking each other home. So that is true. You know, how can we be of more support with each other? And with that, I've also felt that the energy of healing is very present. A lot of people believe in what they can see in the physical. And of course, if you are tuned into a reading, you might already believe that there's more. The way I feel it is that everything is energy. And also that there are energies present that can help us move through things. So there might be some spontaneous release or some release coming up that you can, you know, exercise with and let it move through. But we are also being assisted. So when something arises, don't be scared, you know, we are being assisted. And when energy is helping you out, well, we are also spirit, we are also energy, you know, we're just in this, well, in this suit. So, yeah, there are more spirits out to help you. And if you feel like it brings you a good vibe when you're connecting to a spirit, then be sure that it's loving and helpful. Um, then I have a yearning for fun within all this tumultuous times, to also have a little bit of fun, you know, also for the sake of raising our spirit. Yeah, because if we are only working, even with inner work, yeah, you know, it can get a little bit heavy sometimes. So we are allowed to have fun, you know, balance it out and dance and shake and do whatever. Look up the fun people. Yeah, it's good for us to laugh, you know. Hmm. Then the layers of am I enough? Yeah, very present at this moment, but also in the last couple of weeks. If you are more of an intuitive, I address the intuitives and the general collective every reading. And some of us already move through things and the rest comes a bit later. But yeah, looking into where do I have the feeling of not being enough and also shifting that. So it's very good energy right now to shift your perspective with this and to really grow some good confidence. And especially if you know how to call in your higher self. Last time we also talked about invocation of your higher self. If you're less experienced, check in with people who are experienced, you know, because yeah, you need to know how to do it. But yeah, it can really bring you a sense of, okay, here I am with my higher presence as well, grounding it into your body and living that, because we need you grounded in this how have a little bit of structure there, it can be really very helpful. In the last one, we also talked about making plans, you know, for the new year, and to make your structure more viable can help you to really bring about your goals. And like I said last time, not from the mind, your goals, but the goals from the heart. Like, but how can I still structurize them in a way that they can come to fruition? Then I had alignment in love relationships. This has been up in the air. Yeah, relationships, stuff can really come up at this time, and for us to move through. And what I mean with alignment is to see, hey, where is it going glitchy between us, and how can we sort things out? are we able to, but also where can we find the alignment? Um, Oftentimes people are trying to push each other into it has to be this way, it has to be that way, and that should never be the essence of a relationship. But when we are moving towards alignment to see, for me, this works best in a relationship. How is that for you? How can we, mix this together into a yummy mix? And then it can work. And sometimes things are not aligned. And then, if we see that, we can also let it go for a moment and to see where the process will land us. So, yeah, don't be too scared. Try to be open with each other about your feelings. And I know a lot of people find it hard. We've talked about NVC, nonviolent communication, before. It's a really, really awesome tool for learning how to communicate your feelings from the I perspective and to see where you can find each other again, in love. And then I had sensual energy up in the air. That's always a nice one. And if you feel it, then I would say let it move through your body. It can bring so much energy, so much fun, so much liveliness. Dance with it, maybe move around, see how your body wants to, yeah, embrace this energy, play with it, have a little fun, maybe even together with your partner. That is something nice to share. But also to embody it yourself can be really powerful. And then last but not least, again, a cheeky one, control systems. This is also one of the things that is going to come up more and more in 2024. We are moving into a big era with AI, computers. Well, of course, that has been there, but the influence is going to become bigger. And how are we going to handle this as humanity? That is something that we need to address, all of us, and also really consciously, because it can be used for control and domination. And for sure, there are structures in the world that are up for this. That's at least how I feel. And at the same time, I want to bring a very important message with that. Even though there are powers at play that want to implement really more and more of a control system, we are very it is up to us. I see people often looking at politicians and seeing what they are deciding, but it's not about them. We've learned to give them our vote and then to let them handle things. But what if we learn again that we are autonomous beings and that we are coexisting? And how are we going to coexist in a way where we can benefit all? Because, well, right now we're not doing so great, are we? So yeah, that last one was a really, really important one that I wanted to share with you. And I'm again so curious, Shiv, how this all lines up with the astrology, and for me, you know best. So I want to hear you.
Thank you for that. I have to tell you that a couple of times the internet dropped out for like 20 or 30
Oh shit!
seconds. And so some of the things you said got lost, although the gist was all
Wow.
there. So the technology imps were at play. And often, I find that when we start speaking the deeper truths, that there is technological resistances to it. I've for years in my coaching is I'll just get into a role and, really significant stuff getting said, and you realize the internet just dropped out and then it comes back on,
Mm.
right? But the gist came through, and I know I couldn't hear you. You were frozen up. But just those
Yeah.
of us, those of you all listening, it's like, yeah, you didn't really miss that much. It was, but I'm sorry about that. That was unfortunate. In any case,
Mm.
once again, you nailed it.
Okay.
It was like I get so excited when you're speaking because there's like things keep coming up that totally resonate with what you're saying, right?
Mm.
Especially around the whole, like, just started with the whole 2024 um thing going on. And it really is this um I hesitate to use the phrase beginning of the age of Aquarius. We're in an Aquarian time because the sun and Pluto just hand in hand jumped into Aquarius. And Pluto admittedly will move back out of that in September and then move back in permanently for the next 20 years in Aquarius. But Aquarius is all about technology and innovation. And it's also working at being collective, working together. And so there's a shadow side to it and a light side to it. And, you were talking about um, interdependence that really we're going to start feeling the need and start recognizing what skills we need in order to do this interdependent thing. Because one of the things the internet and all this technology, even AI, is doing is connecting us even more. And yes, there's a nefarious and profiteering, and greed that are driving a lot of it. And so we have to be very discerning and intuitive about what's true and what's not, what's real and what's not. And I feel like this is like um, a test. It's like a school where things that we used to be able to take for granted as being real, we're already been experiencing all of this with GPT and AI and deep fake. It's all becoming like, okay, you don't have to trust just because you've seen an image or you hear a voice or you see words or you even now see someone speaking and saying something. It's like, nope, that could be a not human entity, now my creation that is there to manipulate your mind. So our psychic abilities, which AI doesn't have, it doesn't have a soul. And so you can tell if you're connecting to a soul or not. So don't let the words and the information trick you and let your left brain dominate. We're going to have to tune up our right brain. And we got 20 years of this, as it does its arc. But it started very strongly this week with the Pluto and Sun entering into Aquarius together. So it kind of just gave it a real, start off with that Aquarian stuff. So the full moon is basically going to be opposite that Pluto Sun conjunction in Aquarius. So it's going to kind of emphasize they're starting to separate. The sun's moving along at its usual pace, and Pluto's moving along at its usual slow pace. It's at 0 degrees Aries, just sitting there, basically moving along very slow, but the sun's moving a degree a day. So it's already moved along quite a bit since the 20th, 4 degrees, 3 or 4 degrees into Aquarius already. And the full moon is in Leo. So there's that, when you said, here I am, that's exactly what Leo is. The moon in Leo is, here I am. I'm ready to be seen. I'm ready to declare my presence. And what I had written down was self-image and self-confidence will be kind of to the fore. And there's a connection with Jupiter going on, a square, a T square. So Jupiter, the planet of expansion of everything, optimism, good luck, is square to both the moon and to the Sun Pluto configuration, and then the opposition between the sun and the moon. So that T square actually kind of fires up the possibility of overdoing it, of over expansion, of ego trips, and Pluto is power, so power trips, my way or the highway, or coercion, right? And so remember, these readings are for the collective as well as your individual, but collectively there may be some nefarious under many things we may maybe not even seeing going on right now that are about control, that are being passed and being moved and happening. It's happening all the time, but some major stuff can be going on in that plutonic underground world. And so with that T square, it kind of like, it also kind of might expose it, because it's just like you can't hide it. It's too bright, it's too big. It's no longer under the ground. Jupiter's on it and the moon is reflecting on it. So we're feeling it and it's too big to hide. So the elephant in the room, right? So that's going to be really interesting as we move into the full moon tomorrow. And that sets the tone, right? We're setting the tone for a period, for a moon cycle, for a whole month, and for the whole Aquarian cycle until we get to March, the end of March, and or the end of February, sorry, 21st of February, we move into Pisces. In any case, it can also be a pretty exuberant time. So you were talking about having fun, and Jupiter in the T square to Pluto and the sun and the full moon. And well, full moons are always kind of like a little jazzy and lit up. And so it could be a really fun time to let your inner animal playfulness out, as long as it's not your dark wolf, the light wolf. They'll both be expanded and present, but it's the unconscious mind melding with our ego self. It's the Pluto with the sun coming out. So it could be a kind of a big time. I'm going out dancing tonight and going to go celebrate my birthday, which was a month ago. But it's like, I'm just going to do a little, it's like, why not? This will be fun. And I'm going to go out with my crew and have a great time, because I'm consciously saying, I'm not going to go to the dark side, and write some conspiracy theory tract or something like that. Um, so yeah, with that, Jupiter's all week, all month, all this whole period has been, the caution is don't overdo it. But we've been having all of this, like, let's get it done. Really productive feelings. We've had this minor grand trine that went on since the last new moon. Now we're at the full moon, and we're going to get the last one of a series where Jupiter has been trine first Mars, then Mercury, and now finally Venus. So Jupiter trine Venus, well, that's romance and playfulness, the things of the heart, right? So that trine will kind of bring some Jupiter's good luck and optimism and expansive thinking and go for it kind of attitude to our Venusian stuff, which is not just relationships and intimacy, but it's also money. It's also our possessions, the things we value, the things we hold sacred, all are getting this beautiful expansion of being brought up. While at the same time, there's a sextile going on with Saturn at the top, making that minor grand trine. The double sextiles means that Saturn is subtly grounding this exuberant energy. And that's been going on for weeks, right? At least a few weeks. We got another week of it. And we've set a lot of things in motion, got a lot of things done. It'll be a little more romantic and fun and beauty oriented, harmony oriented this week, which is great. And that's happening right after the full moon. So as the week goes on, we've been doing a lot. And when you said, am I enough? That could be the downside, because we're kind of overwhelmed with all of the things that need to get done. And it's like, am I able to do this? We're having to face our fears and resistances in order to push through and get things done that need to get done, that we want to manifest for our future. So it's challenging, especially if you've not been gathering your energy, if you're not well, a lot of us are still recovering from this last few years, and so we're not at our peak. And we have to focus on our health. We have to focus on our well-being, like strategically, because we really do need to catch up, and we need to be present for this 2024. It's the game is on. It's like 2024 through 2026, 27 is going to be very activated and potentially very forward, but also quite uh quite wild. We don't know which way things are going to jump. A lot of Uranus coming up. So anyway, um, we have that going on this week as far as that finishing that minor grand trine. And the Saturn's going to give us a little hand to be more grounded, make sure that we're actually getting important things done, the things that are really necessary, and not spinning off and just organizing our drawers for no reason, right? Um, Although organizing our drawers could be part of it, right? Finally getting all those closets cleared out. Um, the other big thing this week is Mercury and Mars are conjuncting again, because Mercury retrograded past Mars and now it's going forward. So they're kind of swinging along together this time. So it's a little longer. It's about a week long where they're really kind of influencing each other. And Mars, get things done. Mercury, the mind, travel, communication. So it can go either way, but because Jupiter's still there, minorly trining all that stuff, it should be a really good opportunity to communicate great ideas, to have inspired actions happening, to you know, good ideas and then implementing them. It's like it's go time. The downside would be arguments, Mercury and Mars. You just want to have a fight over this verbal communication, this idea. You get into fussiness and crankiness and kind of like just battle fisticuffs is what I put on the notes here, over things we're attached to. And so you want to be cautious about that, as always. Mars um, needs your higher self to be present with it, so it doesn't just run roughshod over things and create damage. But it really is a beautiful energy archetype that really gets things done, and so it's pretty activated with Mercury right there. Um, at the same time, it's that whole configuration is squaring the moon's nodes and Chiron. Chiron is our healer, our wounded healer. So it's both our wounds and our ability to heal things. Square the sun, I mean the Mercury Mars conjunction. And so it's gonna, and the nodes are our fates. So the south node is conjunct Chiron, which means it's bringing up things from our past, has been for weeks, for months, to be either to be dealt with in some way, and hopefully in a good way that actually launches us towards our destiny and our what we're supposed to learn in this life. That's the axis of the south and north node, is the lessons and the things we're supposed to learn in this life. The south node is the past lives, our past of this life that we're kind of carrying. And Chiron's all about healing that stuff. It's like, bring it up, put salves on it, find out what needs to be done in order to clear those things. And then you can move forward, right? With wisdom. Now you know how to heal, how to heal others. So it's also a mentor. So that's square the nodes, and that gives us the opportunity to kind of go either way. Squares are pushes. They're irritating pushes. You don't get a choice to like just stay neutral on it. You're going to have to either go forward or go backwards. You either have to go negative side or positive side. And that's where free will comes in on squares. They're really powerful. You have a choice of how to work with these energies. And so every one of them have a light and a dark side. So that square is challenging, but we've been at it for a while. And so it should be maybe some resolutions to some of that stuff, right? What else? So all the planets are pretty much clustered over on one side of the sky, which means as the moon goes around, it's going to be like hitting all of these planets in opposition, and then squares and trines and everything but a conjunction as it moves around towards the full moon coming up on February 9th. So by the second, the moon is square the sun and the waning square begins. And it's still doing these oppositions, trines. It does all of the aspects, but it does them really quick because all the planets are kind of right next to each other in these stacks. So what we're going to have is a lot of emotional turbulence, ups and downs. We're going to feel different over hours or days. Every day, something different is coming up, and we can feel completely opposite. One day it's a square or an opposition. The next day it's a trine or a sextile. And you're like, oh, well, okay, everything's okay. So dark to light, the key is to keep our equanimity, to not attach to any particular emotion, recognizing let's just wait and see what happens tomorrow, and then find the middle ground. Like, okay, yeah, they're both true, but which one is the one we want to like, and how do we make a choice around how to react to that stuff? So reacting is not your best move. What you want to do is hold your equanimity and use your discernment and just be patient with this period of time while it goes on till the summer. The planets are all just clustered over between Capricorn and Taurus, and they're just sort of going along as a stack of cards. And so the moon will continue to do this as it does its monthly ride around. It'll go through all of the aspects, but really quickly. Then it does all these conjunctions, and then it comes around and does opposition trines and squares really quickly. So we're going to have a lot of emotional turbulence, and that's going to be practice for emotional equanimity. How much you reattach to these things, because emotions do change. They're information. They're not conclusions. They're just data on what you're supposed to be experiencing, what you're feeling, where your wisdom is. It's something you want to observe, but not attached to. That's always the lesson with emotion. So we're going through a long period where it feels like, oh my God, I just feel different every day, good, bad. It's already been happening for me. I've been driving myself crazy with like wake up and I'm feeling great, and then a few hours later I'm like, oh no, and then a few hours later, hey, I had a great day. Was that a good day or a bad day? I can't tell. It was both, you know. So that's been going on. That's going to go on for till like July, when the planets all spread out again and we start to get a little more sedate um activation from the moon. But just the nature of the cycles, you know, they all go at different speeds and sometimes they just bunch up. So, and this is not the first time. It's not that unique, but it does go on for several months. Um, what else we got going on? You said something about realignment and playfulness. And yeah, definitely Pluto is our animal. It's our instincts, it's our lusts and passions, and Venus is our relationships and things like that. So let's see, what do we got? All of that's kind of activated, and Uranus, just before we get to the full moon on February 9th, Uranus does an aspect where it squares um, the sun at the same time trines to Venus. So our relationships come up. And Uranus is all about rapid change, innovation, unexpected things. It's in Taurus, right? Which is around sensuality and lovely things and our property and the earth and the weather and earthquakes and all that stuff. But there we got Venus in a nice trine to it, and the sun in an awkward square to Uranus all at the same time, right? A few days like this, February 7th, 8th, 9th. Look for the unexpected to show up. It doesn't necessarily mean it's bad, it's just unexpected. So you can have resolution, you can have beautiful things come your way, things finally sort of landing for you. And or it could be, oops, you know, I lost money, that was a bad deal. We've got more work to do because everything moves along, and we'll have another report, of course, at the full moon. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a turbulent time, but really exciting, really exciting. It's just an opportunity for us to really get things going and move forward and make plans and see things start to manifest. So don't wear yourself out. Be cool with it. Watch out for deceptions and delusions, because Neptune does some things this week too, where you can kind of be fooling yourself. Once again, equanimity. Once again, discernment. If things feel a little foggy, wait a day or two. Wait till the full moon before signing anything. I wouldn't say that. That's a little too much. I think you should go forward with whatever is presented as your best intuition, and nobody's going to do this perfectly. So it's not about, nailing it the first time, but riding the ride with the best attitude you can. We're actually in a really, this is a lucky good period if we want it to be. It's really about our attitudes and how well we take care of ourselves so that we can show up, right? Because we're going to go to the dark side. We're going to get cranky. We're going to have arguments if we're tired and overdone, if we haven't been taking our supplements or doing our self-care routines, whatever it takes, to keep yourself ready. Because it's kind of like we're in the big game now. It's fun. It's fun and a little harrowing and kind of nonstop. So that's pretty much it for me.
I loved it. Every time I'm so intrigued about, I don't know, the way you explain things and how every time there's a trine and there's a sextile and that shifts a lot of energies, and it's so interesting to learn. And also, I wanted to thank you because as you were speaking about the I am enough part, I realized that, we've been connecting for a couple of years now, and we couldn't do the readings before because I was moving through growth. Uh, am I good enough to do this? Can I bring this? Am I ready? And you waited for me, like, so. Yeah,
Yeah, I saw it in
really
you. I knew
feel.
you would get there because I've gone through the same journey. And we
Yeah.
constantly do, don't anybody think that we're just like, "Oh, we've got all of this." We're totally,
Mm,
we have our doubts all the time, but we've learned how to push through and recognize, like I told you, it's like once you do it, you start giving your gift and you start doing your thing, it suddenly it's like, "Oh, it's not as frightening as I thought." It's not as
mm,
hard. It isn't as unaccepting. Yes, there's resistances and you know, uh even people who just don't like what you do. But it's so much different than not playing because it's going to be scary, right? Because it's going to be dangerous. Once you get in there, you're like,
mm,
this is a lot easier and more fun than I thought it would be. And you're allowed to screw up. We're allowed to have technical glitches and I've certainly had some readings
mm,
that were just felt super flat and I wasn't there and couldn't get all the information in and wasn't satisfied with it, but who knows how you all out there are receiving this, and hopefully you're finding value in it. And now I know you enjoy doing this. It's a gas. I look forward to it every week.
me too. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
we do it
really
because
is.
we want to do it. We
Mm,
would do it anyway. I mean, we're doing it anyway. It's not like we're making a bunch of money or, becoming famous, which we don't want, or any of that stuff, the usual markers. We do this because it comes from inside of us and we just want to do it. It's like, this is better than sitting around passively waiting for something to happen. Let's create something. Let's do something interesting and see what happens. And I do know from experience that eventually things start to come back to you, in tenfold. So I'm really
mm,
excited about this in the next few years. 2024 is our launch for everyone to manifest the new earth and to wrestle with the old, right? Because it's not laying down and going away. It's like we're all going together. That's the kind of the bitch of it, is like we all go together. Can't There is no leaving souls behind. They all have their part. And so yeah.
it's very nice now that you were saying, stepping into this. We were talking about stepping into it and bringing our gift. I really feel that the more we are bringing our gift, we are receiving energy back. As you are giving, you are becoming more grounded with it. And people talk about experience, and experience is really important. But also in the moment where you really give your gift, I feel like you're getting a download, or I should say, I feel like I'm getting a download, like really, it makes a shift inside of me, like, ah, okay, now you're contributing in the way that we want you to. So you get this extra oomph.
Right?
It's really good to notice.
Yeah, you
It's so
too.
nice.
It's
Yeah,
like I realized it was kind of a channeling and that it just has to do, I don't really know what I'm going to say. I mean, I have my notes, but I really don't know how I'm going to express things, and it always seems to come out pretty well. And that's in my human design. That's the splenic side of me. I have an activated spleen that is my intuitive connected to my throat. And so it just does that. And it's really fun to, thank you for acknowledging that. For sure. You too, though.
yeah, and I always love to listen to you. This man can talk for hours and hours.
Luckily, I don't really love listening to myself. It's not, I don't have enough Leo to do that,
Mm,
but I do love speaking, and I can't wait to be offering up this in public. Got some gigs coming up this summer, and you and I are going to do some things together when I get to the Netherlands, which is part of my
for sure.
Sagittarian adventure. Say yes to life, grab it while you can, attitude. It's like let's make some
Yeah.
things happen. I want to share this with people all
I
over
would
the
love
place.
to. We always feel intuitively like when is the moment to make plans. But now that you're saying this, I'm getting excited. To get it moving a little bit.
Me too. I mean, I already am. I mean, I've got the visions. I haven't bought the tickets yet, but it's like I'm already getting things started earlier this season, with some other colleagues. I'm setting up, outside gigs where I can actually present. And I would love to be doing a lot more readings for people because it's just so valuable, especially at this time, to do those insight work on who are you? Like what is the essence of who you are and what you're bringing? Because you don't want to get caught into doing what other people think you should be doing or who you should be. And that's just a trap that we all fall into at first because what other reference do we have unless we start to learn to know ourselves? And astrology is just one map that can really reveal so many of your talents and gifts and challenges that are sort of built in that you get to work with, right? Human design, gene keys, some others, and the work you do, like where you just can see past the mask and the conditioning to the essential person and then reflect that back to them, right?
Mhm.
And that it's so validating and reinforcing and necessary. We can't get where we want to go unless we know where we are. It's just a physics of mapping. You just have to know I am here and here's where I need to go or want to go or my soul wants to go. So now I know how to navigate. I can start taking some steps. But if you don't know where you are or if you've got yourself mislocated, then you spend a lot of time lost without even knowing you're lost. So yeah, astrology is why I do it. That's one reason I really do
Wow, this is the first time we grow silent.
it.
That's also nice, to sink into that. I also feel a little bit more of tranquility this evening. So for me, it's evening. For you, it's morning. But yeah, it's okay. Slowing down just before the full moon.
Right? Yeah, pacing
Mm.
ourselves for sure. Yeah, that's equanimity, right? It's like fully engaging, but not losing our balance. So
So shall we go out really softly?
yes, let's have a moment of silence. I want everybody to close their eyes and just relax for a moment. All of you people listening, just let your bones melt just for a moment and listen deep inside to that soft silence. Peace all.